Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the Combat Book, a book of rewritable combat maps for tabletop RPGs. This was sent to me by PWorks Wargames, and even though this was sent to me for review, it's not a paid video, it's not a sponsored video, and they are not dictating what gets said in the review or inspecting the video first before it goes out. It's everyone's seeing this all at the same time, and the opinions expressed here are solely my own. For anyone who's been following this for my channel for a while, you'll know that ready-made combat maps are some of my favorite accessories. I've been collecting a bunch of the ones for Starfinder, I've got a few of the Pathfinder ones, and they could just come in so handy. They're just some of my favorite things to collect, to look at, and to get inspiration from. So when PWorks Wargames offered to send this to me, I was really excited at the opportunity because this was something that I had seen, but it was something that I didn't really think I'd be able to get my hands on. Before we take a look at the maps on the inside, let's take a look at the back here. This is a pretty large-sized book, but that's totally okay because again we want decent-sized maps here. On the back it just says the essential tool for every master, a full set of combat maps for fantasy RPGs fitted with a 1-inch grid. The maps can be used both as double pages and as single pages, so there is some versatility there, especially if you're dealing with smaller table sizes, which I think could be great. Use a whiteboard marker to write, draw, and erase as much as you like. And then it contains rewritable maps, combinable multiple page maps, 45 single or double page maps, 64 full color pages, distinctive original designs by PWorks Wargamers. And I will include a link to the PWorks Wargames website down in the description below, and I definitely recommend checking out their page because it looks like there's a lot of cool stuff on there. So let's just go ahead and have a look. We'll go and look through all the maps included in here, and then I'll sort of give my thoughts on it after we do that. So the first one that we have here is just sort of a generic grid, which again, these things are great to have. That way you're not tied too specifically to the environment. You can draw on whatever you need, and this one kind of looks like a sandy area, or perhaps like tiled, but it's a really cool map nonetheless. Then we get into what I would consider this to be the first real one-page map, which is just sort of a road through the countryside sort of thing. But you can also have it as both sides here, and then you've got a wooded area beyond. You got some trees and stuff like that. And I suspect with these here, they're not actually necessarily cut down, but they're just larger trees. But you don't necessarily need the big, leaf foliage at the top. Because it kind of obscures, where the actual trunk and stuff is. So I actually kind of like this design because you can have players, ducking behind trees, and you know exactly sort of where the trunk is. And I think that's a really cool design. Here we got a 2-page one with a bridge going across a river or stream. A campsite on this side, and just sort of again an area through the woods here. I actually really like the amount of detail that sort of goes into these. You got sleeping bags, you got the campfire, just some cool stuff there. Again, just some more forested areas to use. And then we're getting into what looks more like, almost like swampland or marshland, including some ruins, which is awesome. And then we actually have a beach scene here. So again, you can use this map on its own, you can use this map on its own, or you can sort of combine the two together, and you can see where the grass and stuff sort of gives way to the sandy beach, and then you have the shore there. Just a rocky area. What looks like a cave entrance, which again can be really, really useful to have, and something that I think I'm actually going to be using in my current 5th edition game, because I have my players going into sort of like an Underdark type area. So having this cave entrance will be really handy, as well as some of these maps here, which are just various cave areas. And then this one, this is probably like my favorite looking map. I don't know how much I would use it myself, but you got this like volcanic area. And it just looks so cool. Like I absolutely love the design of this particular map. And I would try to find a way. This seems like a good place to maybe encounter like a red dragon or something. It's a really awesome map there. And then we have what looks like a desert sort of scene. So where we had sort of more of a level or flat terrain before, you have some like sand dunes and stuff like that, which is again, very nice touch. Some more desert scenery here. These ones could again be used together, or you could separate them into just individual maps. So you have, again, just a desert area here. You got some dried sort of land here, some bones, and then you have a little oasis, which is really cool. And so again, just to show, if you're dealing with smaller table, for example, something like this is, again, really, it takes up way less room, and I think that's just a nice decision that went into making this, is the ability to do that. Because I know, like, the tables that I use, for example, aren't necessarily the biggest. This does appear to be a little bit smaller than the D&D Adventure Grid, which again is good because it'll take up less room at the table and give people more space to put like their character sheets and stuff like that, because I'm constantly having to get after people for not putting their character sheet on my grid and then writing stuff on, like, using it as like a hard surface. And it's not that they're doing it callously, it's just that there's not a lot of room. So this should alleviate a lot of that. And again, just some nice theme stuff here. Again, some desert ruins, or a little outpost. You can do whatever you want with this sort of thing. So again, just really cool stuff here. And then we're getting into, I guess, what thematically makes sense for this time of year here in Nova Scotia. But we're getting into some winter type scenes. So you got some snowfall on a forested area. And again, just some more snowy stuff, including just a clean, snowy area that you can use if you're going through sort of like an Arctic or a northern or frigid location or tundra. Again, you just have this blank map that you can use, just a single map, and really cool. Or again, you can combine it with the one on the other side there. And then we're getting into some stuff with towns. So you got what looks like almost like a city gate sort of idea here with the towers on either side. And then you've got like a little well at the center of town, or just sort of in an open area. And then you've got some buildings. And again, this is something that I really like. I'll come back to these sort of in a moment. But as you can see, there are no doors or anything like that put onto these maps by default. And I think the reason for that is it allows you to sort of draw them in wherever you want them to be. And even something as simple as changing where a door is located can sort of make a building feel a little bit different if you reuse the maps, right? So the main entrance could be on the other side, for example, or there's just some things that you can do with it. But these are super handy, and I absolutely love these ones here. And then, of course, you have this big gladiatorial arena, and again, that's something that I could definitely use. I actually had an idea or a concept for sort of like an arena-based, I guess adventure might be the wrong term, but it was something I always wanted to do at a convention. Unfortunately, like the conventions around here already have their big gaming event, but I wanted to have, like, try to wrangle up some sort of prize or a series of prizes and have people submit like groups, parties of players that, they make characters using certain guidelines, and you just get these groups together. They register as like a group name, and try to have some sort of theme to them, and then just have basically the players versus the players, and have these groups just fight each other in this gladiatorial tournament, with like the top 3 people obviously getting some sort of prize. And I thought something like that would be a lot of fun, but I don't think it's something that's going to happen, at least in my area. But I always thought it would be a cool idea, and having an arena for something like that, I think is a lot of fun. And it's something I might try to resurrect at a local, at the store that I'm running stuff at, maybe for their RPG day or something. I don't know, but I do want to try to make use of this map as much as possible. And then we have some docks. Again, a useful set of maps to have. Just a large building here. Again, some other stone structures. And then we've got some sewer maps. And these things, again, are just super handy to have. And then we just have some ruins within, like, what looks like a summoning circle or an arcane circle there. Open graves, or tombs, or some sort of monument. And then we just have, again, a stone map that's blank, so that you can draw in whatever you want if you want to use it for like your own dungeon sort of thing. Really, really great stuff there. And then you have this other, what looks like sort of an ominous path leading up to some sort of circular platform where you could have, this would be probably a place where I'd have like a beholder fight or something like that, if I'm going to be completely totally honest, but I love it. Again, just some rooms and stuff. Looks like sort of like maybe for an underground type of environment. Or like a mountainside, or like on the foot of a mountain or something like that. And then you have what looks like just a big old summoning circle, which is, again, just pretty awesome. And so those were the maps themselves. So those are the ones that are included in here. And so the next thing I want to just show, alright, yeah, so the thing that I want to sort of show here is, I'm actually just going to make this a single map. Yeah, so you have these buildings, again, this is one of the things that I just wanted to show here. So you have these buildings that don't have any defined, entrances or exits, but again, this is all usable with dry erase markers. So, for example, here, you could just put in the doorway like that, and then you can have another one, yeah, we'll just put it directly across, which works great. So you sort of draw in where you want the doors to be. So, for example, there could also be a side door here. And I've actually had adventures that I've run where, like, you have a situation where a town's being attacked by this marauding force, and the characters have to try to maybe find civilians, rescue any of the innocents, or try to drive them back. Sort of scenario. The Tyranny of Dragons campaign actually started off with something like that. So maps like these would come in really handy there. And again, you can sort of decide where you want your entrances to be, so you're not locked into, well, the door has to be on this spot. So again, you can sort of reuse it. So again, just we'll get rid of that one and say, you end up using this map later on, but maybe you just sort of turn it this way maybe, and you have the entryway to this building sort of be here. And it's, you don't want to use them back to back, but it does just sort of make things a little bit different. And when you get into towns and stuff like that, a lot of the buildings are going to be designed sort of similarly if they were built by, like the same individuals. So I think that that's really cool. And the dry erase stuff comes off really, really nicely. But with any dry erase thing, eventually you're going to have to some stuff get left behind. I just use a damp cloth, like a damp piece of paper towel, and wipe it down, and then dry it off immediately, and that works pretty well. Alright, so up next I just wanted to show an example of using both sides of the book at the same time, so having one large map. The one thing that I would say is, like, we do have, of course, the rings going through the middle here, and that's really unavoidable. There's nothing that I think you could do to prevent that from happening. So there's a couple of different options that I was thinking of when it comes to how this works. At first I was thinking that I would have to just skip these squares altogether, but I think really you can actually get most of the way in, so you just sort of, make it known that you're in the furthest one back there. So what I was considering to be potentially the biggest drawback of this product is actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be looking at it in person now. So that was one of my big concerns. My plan was to just basically have these two squares, these two rows, essentially be non-existent. But having the minis actually on here for the first time, you don't really have to do that, and it works out really well actually. So again, just a very, very cleverly designed product. And again, you fit almost the entirety of your base, even with those rings there. So I don't think it's going to be a huge issue actually, and that was kind of a relief because, like I said, that was sort of the one drawback that I was thinking might be an issue here. But it actually works really well. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with that because, like I said, that was sort of my big concern. Now, if you have a larger figure, trying to place it over top of these might be a little bit more difficult, and that's where you may want to consider shifting things or just not counting these as being there, and then just having like this be 5 feet and then 10 feet. There's things to consider there as well. But I think overall that the rings being there, I don't think are going to be a huge issue. Not as big as I thought they were going to be. So really, really happy with that. So overall, I am really impressed with this combat book. I think the maps inside are really well done, just some beautiful detail. I like the fact that they leave enough of it open so that you can modify it how you need to. Like just, again, something as simple as being able to draw in where you want doors in certain buildings, I think is a really nice touch actually, and I was really kind of interested to see how they decided to go about that. I like the fact that there are some maps that are just left featureless so that you can use as a generic grid if you're in a particular environment, be it a sandy, stony, dungeon, outdoors. They just have a lot of those really useful generic maps that you can use, and the fact that you can use them as double-sided map, like full-size maps, or just those single-size maps, I think is another huge benefit as well, because table space can be at a premium, and being able to just use it as a single size makes it way more manageable than a lot of the other maps that are out there. So I think that is a really great idea as well. Overall, this is something that I can see me taking to my games now. I think I would actually probably take this in place of the D&D adventure grid because of the amount of utilitarian stuff that's in there, the amount of specific maps that are in there, and the fact that this will take up less of a footprint if I use it just as a single-sided map. So I think that this is an excellent product, and this is sort of, I think, hopefully the beginning of many more of these types of products to come. I could see more like specifically themed versions come out. Like this is one for fantasy RPGs, but I could see one coming out for like sci-fi. Not that I'm saying that this is something that they're doing, but I could see them coming out for like science fiction or other types of things like maybe like Lovecraftian horror, or just sort of more modern RPGs. I could just see a lot of cool stuff coming out of this, as well as environmental stuff. It's just, again, a really, really awesome idea, and it was something that I'd seen a while ago on Facebook, and I thought this was a really, really clever idea, really, really smart idea. And having it in my possession, I can't say enough good things about this. I mean, this is an awesome product. So check out the website. Again, it's in the description below. It's PWorks Wargames. And just hopefully, if at least a few of you give this item a shot, because I think this is a really, really awesome, amazing product, and it opens the door for so much more potential in the future. But just really, really well done. Again, the quality of everything is fantastic, and I can't say enough good things about this or recommend this enough. I just think it's an amazing, awesome product, and as someone who loves these types of maps, these ones are really, really well done. So nice quality. It doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like they cut corners. It just everything has a nice professional feel to it, and I absolutely love it. So definitely check it out. Check out the website. Give this product a look, and as well as anything else that they have on their site, because I think these guys definitely deserve your attention. Anyway, I just want to thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have this already, let me know if you've been able to put it to use in your campaigns, or if you plan on picking it up. Let me know that as well, because I would love to. I hope I can at least steer a few people towards this amazing product. Anyway, thank you guys again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care.